Welcome to Absolute Comics, the show right here on the Comicstorian Podcast Network that we air at twitch.tv/Comicstorian, that we bring to you every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern, where Sal and I sit around and chat about comic books, movies, video games, whatever is related to your favorite superheroes. And why is that, Sal?
Because it's not the weekly pull, it's Absolute Comics?
Dude, you literally read that's exactly what I wanted you to do.
Like, is that what you want me to do? Okay.
Wow, we are so in sync now. That's awesome. I was like,
we got it.
I didn't give him any indicator that I want him to give the intro title.
No, I was gonna do a thing, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna play it coy. I'm gonna be like, what? But I think it worked out. Yeah, this is smooth sailing, guys.
It's like we're professionals, or we've done this more than once. All right, so today, guys, we're going to talk about some of the comic books that we've read recently. I am caught up in the plot to Hawks and Pox, because we just did the summary for Comicstorian, so Sal and I are going to talk a little bit about Hawks and Pox. We are going to talk about the Thor, Love and Thunder director, unsure about Thor's weight. And I do want to talk about this, because they apparently haven't decided when this movie's taking place after Endgame, which actually has me a little worried, because have they not planned this? What is going on? What is going on with Phase 4? But we're going to talk about that in a minute.
Yeah.
Which also ties into us discussing Ant-Man 3 being given the green light, Cloak and Dagger being canceled after 2 seasons. All of that is Marvel Phase 4 hoopla we're going to be talking about. Yep. On top of the comic side, we're going to talk about the finale to Deceased. We're going to talk about Doomsday Clock apparently actually coming out.
Maybe one day.
The new Ant-Man story that's going to be released. Not much to say about that, but we'll make our mentions on that one. Then we're also going to be talking about the new Spider-Verse movie and its announcements. And we're going to talk about Chris Evans and what he said about the hammer over the shield. Oh. And I am not talking about how the mutant gold balls got renamed to Egg. You know what? This is the talk. Hey, Sal, the mutant gold balls renamed himself to the Egg.
I know, I saw that, and I was like, why? I mean, I understand why, but like, I would love to see a poll. What's better, gold balls or Egg? My wife says gold balls is worse. I'm like, Egg sucks. I got used to gold balls. Egg?
Why Egg? Egg of all things. He's not even
because he makes
shaped
them.
No,
because the balls are eggs.
Are they eggs? I thought they were just gold balls.
No, that's the retcon in Hawks and Pox, is that the gold balls he makes are actually eggs.
What?
So he's an egg layer. Really, he should be called the chicken, but that's too close to beak, so I think that's not going to work.
Okay, and there's our discussion on the gold balls name change.
There you go.
All right, and we're going to talk about Flash Forward and how they've brought back Giant Iris.
Why now?
All right, let's talk about that first then, because you've been itching to talk about that since you read that note on the show listing.
I have, yeah. Well, I saw the preview about it. Like, somebody posted it somewhere, and I was like, jeez.
All right, so Giant Iris, for those of you guys who don't know, are Wally West kids, and they've been using it as the big crutch to like, oh no, your kids are missing, your kids are missing, your kids are missing. And now it turns out they're lost in the multiverse, but it's the actual Giant Iris. Like, it's not just like a multiversal version like when they did Linda. They're like, oh, she just doesn't know you, and it's the multiversal version. Giant Iris are just separated?
Yeah. Yeah, like they were preserved somehow from the New 52 Flashpoint retcon.
Yeah.
I get that, like, you want to do that.
On one hand, I'm happy. I like the kids. It will help differentiate Wally from Barry now.
And Wally from Wally.
And Wally from Wally. Because for those guys who don't know, like, as much as people love Wally West and much people love Barry Allen, there's very few portions of the overall Flash timeline where they're actually both there. Like, it's normally one's dead.
Yeah, it's true. Well, and Wally was Wally Kid Flash when he was Barry was the Flash. And they weren't like Batman and Robin. They didn't like often run together. You know, Kid Flash spent a lot of time on the Titans. You know, it was just kind of like, I don't know. It felt really like, I don't know. Well, that and also, of course, their personalities are a little similar. You know, like most people who took over for DC Comics after Wally replaced Barry were just like, well, I'm just going to write Barry. I'm just going to write Flash the way I remember him.
Well, and it took a long time. That's the core problem, because when he was Kid Flash, you're right, he was separate. And then when he became Flash, Barry was gone at the time. So they kind of turned Wally into Barry, or like an amalgamation of the two of them. And then Wally, as time went on, got the wife, got the kids. He went through his own journey and and all that stuff. And then Barry came back, and Geoff Johns was writing Flash, and he's like, well, I like Barry. So Wally was just like off doing his own thing, and he was not really a part of what was happening. Mm-hmm. And then New 52 hit, and Wally was gone. That was the end of that.
Yeah, exactly. Then Rebirth came back, and they're like, no, not only is that Wally we made for the New 52 not the only Wally, here's real Wally. And you're like,
well, it's Wallace and Wally. That's what we have now.
Exactly. So now you got Wally back.
If you do keep up with Flash in the latest issues, the Death of the Speed Force, they officially went back and retconned Wally and Wallace were cousins, both of which were the nephews of Iris. And they I like how they did it, because what they did was they basically went back and said, here's, at the end of year 1, they're like, this is what are the things you forgot, Barry? Here's Wally and Wallace. They're both here. Oh, okay. They're both in the timeline. And I was like, okay, at least you're making some amends. We're no longer doing the whole Wally doesn't exist and Wallace is the thing,
Right, yeah, that's true. I mean, and now, it would not be fair to, like, unmake one or merge them. You have to make them their own characters, because they've both gone on their own adventures. They've done their own things. They have their own fan bases. So
even Wallace is a fan base, and he's gotten more of a fan base as time has gone on. He's on the Teen Titans. People like Wallace, and now thanks to the CW mimicking Wallace as opposed to Wally, but calling him Wally.
Yeah, you with us so far?
Are you confused yet?
Right? But no. So Wally ended up being kind of like the linchpin of DC Rebirth, which was like your hope, you're the salvation. You bringing you back means we're going to change a lot of things. And then they were like, oh, actually, Geoff Johns isn't in charge anymore, so no. And also, not only no, but the whole idea of you being kind of like hope incarnate and bringing things back is going to make you so stressed out.
Yeah.
That combined with not being able to like be with your wife who's been rebooted and be with your children who have been erased from existence, you're gonna be like a murdering scumbag who like plants evidence and implicates their friends in the murders they've committed. Like,
I think that's what they were trying to go for. If you think about it, Wallace is the Teen Titans. He's Kid Flash now, so that's what Wallace is doing. Barry is the Flash, dealing with the current journey that Joshua Williamson has brought him on. Which keeps putting Wally into a weird place where he was on the Titans, but then they canceled the Titans. So then it was like, well, what do we do with Wally? And I think the idea was, well, we'll make him the really depressed and upset Flash, which is completely against his character. Yeah. And then now we're sending him on a redemption journey. And I'm hoping, I want to say at the end of the redemption journey, he's going to get his kids back and Linda, and it's all going to be like, he's the married Flash, and we're dealing with that path. But here's the thing, Dan, and I believe it was Dan, said that the solicits for issue 5 is very depressing. So...
Yeah. Well, they said if you thought Heroes in Crisis was bad, it's about to get worse. And you're like, based on the critical reception of not only the book, but also what you did to Wally in that book, maybe you might want to stop referencing Heroes in Crisis. But moreover, don't say you're about to do something worse.
I know. Like, you turned him into a murdering psychopath who ended up in prison.
Yeah.
What the heck?
I don't know. But now, getting back to what we were actually talking about, he has his kids. They exist. So, like, let's say for the sake of argument that they're gonna come into our universe. Are they gonna visit their dad in jail? Is he gonna go back in time and make that and undo the DC Comics flagship writer and his story? Like, is that what they're gonna do? Because I feel like they're not. I feel like they're not going to tell Tom King, oh yeah, as it turns out, we're not going to actually have the emotional crux of your story matter at least a year after it's been printed. I don't think they're going to do that. So it's like, it's the worst time to bring back his kids, which is, of course, I'm sure at an editorial meeting is like, that means it's the best time because all the juicy drama will flow from the fruits of our stories and they'll drip down our throats. Like, okay, whatever. Like, it's weird. It's weird that they chose now to bring back the kids.
What they need to do is end this with every Flash. I want Bart. I want I want Wallace.
Jay.
I want Jay. I want Jai. I want Iris. I want Iris. I want Iris. There's like 4 of them now.
Oh, that's right. I want Max Mercury. Bring him back too.
I want Max
Why
Mercury.
Not?
I want Negative Flash. What's it? Melina was Negative Flash. Let's bring her back.
Yeah.
Let's have them all be back and in full continuity and available. Godspeed. Let's bring Godspeed back.
I mean, like, the reality is, it turns out that, like, DC fans like Flashes. Give them all the Flashes they can handle.
Let's put a
Liberty
Flash
Bell.
in every other book. We already have, what's the name of Avery? Avery's like Wallace's girlfriend when he's in the Flash, but she never shows up in Teen Titans.
Oh, cool.
The Chinese Flash?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
She shows
Just
up in
nonstop
Flash.
Flashes.
Whenever Wallace is in Flash, Avery is with him. Whenever he's in Teen Titans, she's nowhere to be found.
Yeah. Huh. That sounds more like people don't want to write about her.
It feels like Joshua Williamson's like the last bastion for the Chinese Justice League exists.
That's true. That's what it is.
So it's going to be
weird.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what they do. I guess.
All right. Let's talk about Deceased finale. All right.
Oh.
Talk about a weird book that came out of nowhere. We all knew the zombie book was going to do well. But when we heard they gave it to Tom Taylor, it was like, oh no.
Oh, I got to read it now.
He's going to kill everyone.
Literally, like, I remember picking up the first issue and being like, here we go. And at the end of it, I'm like, well, I'm sold. You got me.
Oh, I know. Yeah. The whole entire Deceased book was incredible. I loved the entire run. I love the cliffhanger because he always does this. He just gets rid of all the main heroes. Remember when he wrote Earth 2? Everyone forget. Earth 2 killed off Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman right at the first, I think, second issue or first issue. They were dead. And
I think by issue 2 they were dead. Yeah.
He focused an entire book on the new Superman, the new Wonder Woman, the Green Lantern, the Flash, and it was incredible. It was so good.
It created a whole like legion of fans and a book, and it inspired a horrible crisis event called Convergence. It was great.
It was an amazing book. I loved it.
Yeah.
You
can see how much he loves Earth 2, by the way, but yeah.
Well, he's moving this one off again. He's like, and we're going to go find... It's almost like they're like, well, let's do Deceased, and if it does well, we're going to give you a continuation. And he's like, well, where did we leave Earth 2? Right, they were finding a new planet. So we're going to go back into space so my new superheroes can go find a new planet. And this time, my new Batman's Damian, and my new Superman is Superboy. And I'll have all the kids be the new superheroes on a new planet where they're fighting the zombie virus.
That's fine. I'm in. I think that's great. I mean, like, and the fact is, like... When they gave it to Tom Taylor and you knew it was in another continuity, all you could think of was Injustice, and all you could think of was Injustice was supposed to be this dumb video game tie-in, and it turned into like an 8-year comic book of like phenomenon.
It's still technically not done. They left it on a cliffhanger because you know there's going to be an Injustice 3 game.
Oh yeah, it's sold, so they're gonna make more. But like, Deceased was the same deal, and I was reading it with the expectation of there being an announcement that like, okay, well, the sales were good, we're going to make another one.
I wonder if this is going to be his thing every Halloween. Because they did the tie-in. No, they did the tie-in, A Good Day to Die, and we've heard nothing.
Right.
And what if they're like, next July you're going to hear about the follow-up?
I wouldn't be surprised.
He's probably already written it, but...
Oh, yeah. No, well, the fact is you can't stop a writer from telling a story. And with him, you know he wouldn't have done what he did, and I don't want to spoil too much, or at least constantly spoil it too much, but like he wouldn't have done what he did at the end if he wasn't already in love with the concept and he wasn't already telling that story, at least in his own head, if not on paper.
Yeah. He's allowing the story to continue. The way it's written, it wraps up, you're good. You don't have to walk away with no closure.
You really don't need any more.
Right. But there's doors that have been left a crack open so we can let things happen.
You know there is more.
Yeah.
But you could imagine it, or you could read it because you know they're going to make him write more. I mean, it's great. Like, what they did, every character moment is great. What's incredible is every time that they do a story that's like off, the reservation and make a crazy, twisted, cracked mirror version of your favorite characters, usually they take liberties with the characters, their motivations, or their personalities, so that you can get things going. So you could so you could get what you want to achieve done faster. With this, everyone behaves the way that you'd expect. Superman is Superman. Batman is Batman. Alfred's Alfred. Like, even Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, Guy Gardner, like everyone, Constantine, that tie-in book for DCeased was excellent.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And that was just because they were like, well, it's got to be 6 issues. Like, the tie-in book, no. Those are just missing issues within the main story. And they're great. Like, the whole damn thing, everyone behaved the way they were supposed to. Everybody, like, it was just, what if things got a little harder? Like, what if the editors weren't paying attention and things actually did happen and have consequence? It's cool.
So, yeah, I mean, overall, DCeased is incredible. I loved every part of it. I mean, we do very few books on Wednesdays. That's the new thing we're doing. We're trying to pick out one big title to put out Wednesdays for the sake of the YouTube algorithm. Stupid YouTube. But I'm on Twitch right now. I can say that. But yeah, I mean, so but I made sure it was DCeased, and then we just put out part 7 today, which is the Good Day to Die, and I'm like, where's more? I need more. Give me more of this. Because even that, they left Constantine and Dr. Fate and Zatanna ready to roll, ready to go do something. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in. So, I'll take either book. It would be funny if they were like, the next one's going to be just about Dr. Fate, Zatanna, and Constantine.
Dude, I would pay for that.
I would buy that. I bought the last one.
And then the follow-up, part three, that's the continuation of the Super Sons. Superboy and Damian. Yeah, and then we do that with the Black Canary, Green Arrow thing. Lantern
I'm in.
Thing. Yeah.
Green Lantern. Green Arrow's there too. Yeah.
This ties into one of our other discussions. In that issue, we discovered that Wonder Woman has ways to defeat the rest of the Justice League. I will say I'm not surprised.
Right.
First off, Wonder Woman of all characters, she's always been kind of weirdly on the fence. She's not Superman, but she's not Batman. But her having ways to defeat everyone, viable. As far as what DC has been doing recently with the Wonder Woman character, they are trying to pivot her. In all honesty, I don't know why they haven't done this before today. Like, I get the movie made her bigger, but she's always been the Trinity. She's always been a big deal. And I feel like she always got the shaft until the movie did well.
Yeah. No, it's true, because whether you like Wonder Woman books or not, I could count on one hand my favorite amount of Wonder Woman stories that have been written. She is the most recognizable female superhero of all time. Yeah.
I'm surprised it took a movie doing well for DC to be like, well, we really should do more with Wonder Woman. Like,
yeah, maybe we should make it. Maybe we should put an insistence on this character. Like, yeah, maybe. I don't know.
The best part about Wonder Woman is it's like she's not like a carbon copy of Superman. She's not She's not Batgirl. She's not Supergirl. She doesn't have a lame origin.
She's not even a derivative character.
No,
like, it's not like she's a She-Hulk. She's her own character.
She's her own character, and she's. I love her lore, her backstory, the Greek and Roman gods. I love all that stuff. I've always loved the character of Wonder Woman, and her getting all this limelight recently. I'm loving seeing her getting put out there as a character that you actually want to follow the adventures of. Yes. I just don't know why it took so long for this to be a thing, that they're finally giving her like some recognition for being the basically the daughter of Zeus, depending on your timeline, and like the god of war, depending on your timeline. And
yeah, I mean, honestly, I think it's just that Wonder Woman books notoriously don't do very well, and so as a result, they're like, well, then I'm not going to put effort into it. Like, I can't fudge it. Like, if we had an ancillary Bat character, like Batgirl, how does that book sell? Well, it sells a little better because there's Bat in the front of the title, but otherwise, it's going to be, you're going to have to really make it into a passion project. With Wonder Woman, it's like, if it doesn't sell very well, I'm not going to post it just because it should exist. Like, I'm not going to put out a book just because people should be reading Wonder Woman. But thanks to the movie, and thanks to like the proliferation of that character in the pop culture, we have the opportunity now to justify it, at least, financially speaking, which is great.
I'm going to say something that's very divisive amongst the Wonder Woman fans, and it's counter to what Pector the Inspector just said in our chat. Well, he said she was ruined in the New 52 until Greg Rucka came along. I actually really enjoyed Brian Azzarello's take on her. I do agree it's not the Wonder Woman we grew up with. I liked the take he did on it. I hated what Greg Rucka did. I like what everyone after Greg Rucka has done with the Greg Rucka retcon, but I feel like Greg Rucka had a bigger picture and for some reason left early. And like we never got the true Greg Rucka storyline.
I'm sure they just told him he couldn't finish it. Like I feel like you're right, but like
I hated what he did because it felt so incomplete. At least Brian Azzarello's thing came to a conclusion. It's a full story that I enjoyed.
Well, and it did a lot of really fun things with gods and with just the I don't know, like the imagery and the characterization of Wonder Woman and like it's a cool story and it makes her more interesting.
I think the problem with Wonder Woman in general and why I like the Brian Azzarello run is she does have a lot of that history and stuff like that. And everyone
they don't throw it away. It's just,
and for the most part, a lot of people just want to turn her into, well, she's basically female Superman, but not really. And that's what a lot of previous writers like to do with her. Every one of her adventures was just like, oh, she's going to go fight something. Cool, huh?
Yeah. Thinking she's female Superman or treating her like Superman or approaching her from the perspective of writing a Superman story is doing the character a disservice. You don't get the character. I love actually what Tynion's been doing with her in Justice League Dark.
I love the original Greg Rucka run. I liked Brian Azzarello's reinvention because I felt like we still had Wonder Woman in there. But we were deep diving into because she never really had too big of a support cast, and it felt like Brian Azzarello really dived into what could be a support cast. And what I liked about Brian Azzarello is it went, I think, 35 issues, and it was a full story from beginning to end. And that's always something that'll hook me in. If you can just tell a epic, sprawling tale, which is what I felt that was like a Greek Odyssey kind of a thing, like just an epic tale. But I'm fine with it ending. That was cool. I liked how it was done, and we moved on. We didn't keep tackling his versions of the characters. And then they did a bunch of weird stuff, and then Greg Rucka came back, and I felt like he had a bigger plan. I felt like it was a big thing. He got cut short. I like what the writers afterwards have been doing, where they decided to go into the concept of a brother, and they decided to go into the concept of the different gods and stuff like that. I like what they're doing right now. I 100% love what James Tynion has done with Justice League Dark. I love that idea that our magical-based character is now in the magical-based DC world. Like,
I mean, I love that.
That's a concept I felt like should have been done years ago. Like, why wasn't it?
Well, I feel like Azzarello's the closest we got for a long time.
Yeah, and maybe that's why I liked his run so much, because there was magic.
Yeah, well, or at least like a darker side. This is a woman who has 1 foot in the real world and 1 foot in a mystical realm. It's one of gods and and demons and other things like that. But like, she would know about that kind of thing. Her lasso is magic. One of her most identifiable, iconic weapons is magic based.
Right.
And I love the idea of her living as like the kind of like the face of the Justice League. Listen, I'm part of the Trinity. I'm in front and center. They have statues of me, and also I go in the basement and I work with like the magic people. Like it's cool. It makes sense. It's very Batman in terms of like Batman's a mythic creature of the night and a founding member of the Justice League. Like it doesn't really work, but it does, and they make it work. And so Wonder Woman should have that much almost diversity of character. Like give her a lot of things to do because she's versatile enough to handle it.
I love the chat now going through Brian Azzarello's runs with the problems I had with it. I did not say Brian Azzarello runs is perfect. Hades being a child was weird.
I love the visual of Hades. Hades as a child with that like horrible he looked cool. He was scary and unnerving.
He looked cool and scary, but it was weird. Poseidon being the giant fish monster, that was a bit weird. When they tried to do almost, it reminded me of the Wicked and Divine. With some of the way they treated some of the gods, I was like, you're kind of encroaching on another part of the book here, Brian Azzarello.
Big time. Oh, no, you could tell he was like, no, I'm just aping off of Gillen. Yeah.
The problem with Wonder Woman in general is they need to stop changing writers, in all honesty. Yeah. Give it to one writer and just let that writer run with it and just see where it goes. Brian Azzarello, I think, had the longest run in a long time. And I get you didn't like where he was going with it. That's fine.
Right.
So try someone who wants to keep her more traditional, like Greg Rucka, and let him finish.
Yeah, I agree. No, I think I would give it to Tynion, honestly, because he seems to know what he's doing with magic and stuff, and he's a great writer, and he knows how to tell a long story with Eternal, and so go for it. Like just give her to somebody who knows what they're doing and wants to do a long run.
Yeah. I feel like with the Greg Rucka, they were like, it'll be great. We'll make amends with Greg Rucka. And then they got halfway into like, well, the sales didn't go up. You got to go, Greg.
You're fired. Yeah, that's right. Well, it turns out you're not nearly as popular as we thought. Get out.
Wow. Wow. But I mean, we don't know what happened internally, but that very much could have been what happened internally.
Yeah, that's just one version of what might have happened.
Yeah. We're going to clarify real quick. That's just Sal joking around. We don't know if that's actually what happened.
I really have no idea. I don't follow Greg Ruck on Twitter. I don't know anything about it.
So, all right, cool. Next comic book talk I wanted to go over. What about Doomsday Clock finally being done?
I know, and this is we heard. I want to get this guy's name. Gary Frank. Gary Frank said, we're pretty much done. Like, we're almost there. Like, I just finished. I just turned in a couple pages. Blah blah blah. This is maybe a month ago, and now, as you were saying, the colorist for Doomsday Clock is like, yeah, we're almost done. We should be done by the end of the year.
The thing, this is all speculation from this point on.
Right. We don't know.
We don't know what happened because it doesn't make any sense. Gary Frank is not a super slow artist.
He's a slow artist.
He's a slower artist.
Not this slow.
That's what I mean. Like, was the script late to him? Did he have like a major family issue that we just don't know about and he's keeping quiet about and he's just been off the record?
I think because of the delays. Like, I mean, 2 years ago was when they announced Doomsday Clock at New York Comic Con, and it was a big deal. And I still have my poster they gave us, like proclaiming how awesome and great and big this is going to be. 12 issues, they were like ready to go. And I think that you don't start that kind of initiative and then go like, okay, so Frank, you can finish this, right? Like, okay, let's start now. I feel like they had to have had issues in the bank, finished and ready to go. It sounds to me, and I don't know at all, it feels like maybe it was either intentionally delayed on one or two sides. Either DC didn't want it to come out, or they wanted to delay it such that its relevance and its popularity dwindled, where they're like, look, when an issue comes out, it's going to sell a lot. But if it came out consistently, people would expect us to like want to keep doing things like this or want to do whatever it does at the end of the story, and we don't want to do that. So let's just bury it in obscurity.
Right.
Or alternatively, they want to do something at the end of the story and there's conflicting opinions about where to go. And maybe they're like riding it out, like
maybe
the crisis that people think is going to happen won't happen, or maybe it'll get delayed, and then Doomsday Clock will come out and it'll be such a success, and people will be so responsive to it that they'll have no choice but to use whatever the end of Doomsday Clock is to further the future of DC, or
it also feels like a lot of the current books are tying into what potentially could be happening at the end of the year. Like, the original plan is now coming to fruition.
Well, like, what's funny is, for me, I feel like a year ago, the books were all tying into Doomsday Clock, but now the books are tying into, like, the next thing.
Year of the Villain.
Year of the Villain. That all the Year of the Villain books, everyone who's working on them, Snyder, Tynan, Williamson, like, everybody who's working on those stories, King, is not in any way connected to Doomsday Clock, and they're instead focusing on what's on the horizon.
Yeah. Well,
and yeah, like no Johns at all. And Johns is still working for DC. It's not like he's not there anymore. Like,
well, that's what I was going to bring up. Geoff Johns, ever since this whole DCEU fallout a couple years ago, has been very slow to get any stories out. Three Jokers has never appeared. Shazam is constantly delayed, and we don't know what's going on with that.
Yeah, and that's supposed to be just an ongoing series. Three Jokers, I get. It's a Black Label book. It was supposed to be like a huge, and it was the linchpin of his whole reveal at the end of the button and stuff. No, the end of Apocalypse War? What the hell was it called?
Darkseid War.
Darkseid War. I was like, it was that long ago. At the end of Darkseid War, they were like, oh, Three Jokers. What's that all about? Well, 4 years later, nothing.
I have a theory on the Three Jokers. I think it's buried by WB. So think about it. He announced that he was going to go wrap up Three Jokers now that he was off of the DCEU and it's going to come out, and then WB's got a Joker movie coming out.
Right.
And the last thing they want is whatever's in that book probably coming out. We have all these Joker comics from Black Label right now, but no Three Jokers. But all these Joker comics are like Joker Origins and Joker Discussions. And
yeah, but what kills me is this is another example of DC missing the mark on a potentially brilliant marketing ploy to sell more books. Same thing with when Batman Damned came out. I've said it a million times. When Batman Damned 1 came out, the hype was real. And all they had to do was ride the wave and take the money. And they didn't do that. And that was all because of the parent company saying no. Joker, biggest R-rated movie of all time, huge hype, lots of stuff. Hey, wouldn't it be great to have a Joker original graphic novel on the shelf right now to sell that? Yeah. We could also, around the same time, like, sure, Joaquin Phoenix is doing the press tour. Hey, you know who else is? Jeff Johns or Jim Lee or, Dan DiDio going out there, going on the press tour. Even if he only gets on Seth Meyers, he's talking about a comic book. It's on the shelf. It's not just in comic shops. It's Three Jokers. It's an original graphic novel. It's like, I don't know, $19. It's a Borders books $1 million, Amazon, it's the highest selling book in Amazon, like whatever, like, but it's an opportunity to piggyback in a realistic way off of the movie hype, the way that like Marvel can't make work.
Yeah. And for the record, our chat is saying that Fabak is tweeting out pictures. He has been tweeting out pictures. That book was announced 4 years ago. This is not our speculation is not all wrong. Because it's been 4 years. This is
and you know who was working on Three Jokers when they announced it? Fabok. It's not like he's not the fill-in artist, and he's not been doing anything else.
Yeah, exactly. So either Jeff Johns wasn't writing it, or WB was like, yeah, don't cut him the check because we're not doing it yet. There's something stopping it. They're gonna come out with it eventually. If they never intended to come out with it, then they never would have mentioned it again. It would have just...
You know what they would have done? It would have been worse. They would have put out something like it. Like they would have fast-tracked a original graphic novel Joker book. Not about the Three Jokers, not about Darkseid War, just a separate Joker book.
Yeah.
Just to
I will agree with this potential speculation from another Pector the Spectator chat here. He says that they haven't solicited it because they're saying that they want to wait until he's done with multiple books. After what happened with Doomsday Clock, that could very much be it. But it's still been 4 years. So how long did it take for him to get the script? Even if he's been working on the second issue for 3 months or a month, why did it take 4 years to get him a script?
No,
that's my point. I agree. After Doomsday Clock, they probably are waiting for Three Jokers to be done. And then they're going to put it out.
Yeah, I sincerely believe those scripts were done when they announced it. I don't think it had... I think initially, maybe, like the first year of DC Rebirth, when they announced Doomsday Clock from October to January of that year, I sincerely believe that maybe any delay was in Gary Frank's art, just because he's a perfectionist, his art is impeccable, it takes time. Remember, listen, like, there was no obstacle in the way of the release of Batman Earth 1, Volume 1 and 2, and those things were significantly delayed as well. We know that it's because Gary Frank takes time, and no one's going to complain about it because the art is friggin' awesome. But at some point, especially after the delays from Volume 2 of Batman Earth 1, you make plans around that. If Gary Frank is going to draw your 12-issue Watchmen sequel that's also going to technically kind of like explain the new future of DC, then you have him pregame. Have him finish a couple issues ahead of time.
Well, and that's what it looks like they're doing, because I have seen the tweets where he's like, oh, look, this thing exists, guys.
Yeah, and I believe wholeheartedly that he did, and I think that even he couldn't keep up with the delays that were like manufactured from on high. Like either AT&T, Warner's, the editorial department. I think someone is deliberately stonewalling this book.
Well, we know for a fact that there has been WB coming in and cleaning house. We know for everyone's like, well, Johns is busy. Yeah, he's been busy for a while. That hasn't changed. Johns has been busy since Blackest Night. He's so busy that he keeps getting released from various jobs because he's not getting them done. Which once again could be a part of why there's been 4 years on Three Jokers, but 4 years is excessive. We're not talking a 2-year delay. We're not talking a 1 year delay. We're talking 4 years. 4 years from the announcement of a Three Joker book that was supposed to come after Darkseid War. 4 years,
and not like a side, Daredevil book or like a tie-in book about Nightwing. Like, we're talking about a flagship title that is supposed to impact the continuity of your publishing line.
Yeah. That's exactly it. And it's also not like this has been something that DC's been building up to, like Mr. Oz, where they literally spent 4 years building up to Mr. Oz. No, this has been something that just Batman hasn't mentioned for 4 years.
Nope. Can you imagine, like, when Darkseid War ends, he's like, there were 3 cut to 10 years after that, and maybe I'll get on it one day.
That's what I mean.
There's no way. I mean,
there's something going on behind the scenes, be it Geoff Johns got just way so busy, or you know what? And I'll if I was the guy that was supposed to be headlining a dozen movies and a dozen shows, and I'm the creative director of DC, and I just let my workload get so busy that they pretty much laid me off on half of it, I might be a little depressed myself. And we know that Geoff Johns is an introvert who doesn't even like talking to people too often. I mean, it could just be He burned himself out. He hit a wall. He had too much going on. He didn't catch it until it was too late, or until WB caught it.
Right. That could very well be.
Yeah, and I'm a huge fan of his writing, and I want to see these books. I'm just 4 years is really suspicious. There's something off with that. No one really knows what. And everything we've said about it's all speculations. We have no internal information. We have no idea what actually happened.
Nope. So, even if we did, we wouldn't be able to even tease at it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no, it's 2017 is when the hardcover. Oh, that's the omnibus for. Yeah. So about the end of 2016 is when Darkseid War must have ended, because if the omnibus came out.
Yeah, there you go.
So it's a little shy of 4 years, but it's been a while.
Well, listen, there's no way in hell Three Jokers is coming out by December of 2019. And I've been on record saying I don't think Doomsday Clock will come out before the beginning of 2020.
That one I think will. I think that will hit right around Christmas. I think that will, because
it's going to be right on the wire.
It is, but they're talking way too much about it coming out there to then drop the ball again.
Well, the thing is, you know who's not talking about it? The people who are in charge of putting it out.
That's true.
The only people talking about it are the people who stand to lose credibility from it not being released.
Okay,
Artists,
hold on.
Colorists,
I want to clarify
writers.
something here, because you brought up 4 years, and we both ran up 4 years. Darkseid War started on September 6, 2017, according to this article that was talking about it when it started.
Okay.
So that means it probably wrapped up at the beginning of 2018. So it actually has not been that long. It's still a little suspicious that it's been as long as it has, and it definitely feels like it's been a lot longer than a year and a half.
Yeah, no, they announced Doomsday Clock in October of 2017.
Yeah, Darkseid War was way before all of that.
Exactly.
This article cannot be accurate unless somebody decided to make. There's no way that this article came out at the.
Yeah.
I feel.
No, I think Darkseid War ended in 2016.
I feel like you're right, because part of the reason why everyone freaks out about Three Jokers is how long it's been. If this was under a year, I don't think we'd really be talking about it very much.
Yeah, no, DC Universe Rebirth number 1 came out in January of 2016 or something.
Yeah. So I found that the hardcover book, the original print, that was the issue I was running into, was March 9th, 2016. Which means if that was the hardcover book, you're right. Rebirth probably started, I believe, right before then, and Darkseid War concluded New 52 pretty much.
Yeah. Darkseid War started in 2015 and ended in 2016.
Yes. Okay, so 4 years is accurate.
Well, and there's no way that Johns was like, ooh, Three Jokers. I'm going to stick that in at the end of this book. He knew that Three Jokers was going to be a thing at the start of Darkseid War, which means if you want to take it back even further, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Three Jokers has been an idea. The Doomsday Clock thing absolutely has been a thing since 2015.
Yeah, I like one of our chatters, Ruffery. Weren't you guys talking about Three Jokers at the start of the weekly poll? There's a very good chance.
Literally, when we, in that on that show, we absolutely were like, oh man, what are they gonna do? It's gonna be awesome. We're still talking about it.
Honestly, at this point, if they just let it die, I think we'd all be like, all right, well, that was an idea that never panned out. And that'd be the end of the Three Jokers. But they do keep saying, we're working on it.
Yeah.
So Tevia's right. I believe that's Tevia. We're going on 5 years. So for everyone's like, Geoff Johns is a busy guy. For everyone that is like, it has not been squashed. Sal's right. He did not just get to the end of Darkseid War and go, it'd be cool if I just say Three Jokers. The idea is, it's been a long time. So something happened, be it Geoff Johns, got overwhelmed and he got depressed from being laid off from a lot of those projects. Once again, I'm a huge fan of Geoff Johns. I will read anything that guy puts out. So I'm not trying to bash him. Things happen. No. Life happens. Hence the Gary Frank thing. Life happens. I get that.
The reality is there's enough time has passed. All of those things could have happened.
Yeah, exactly. And that's just it. It could have been a series of things. I've had weeks where I'm like, oh, we fixed everything. My week's going great. Oh, crap. shit hit the fan again. I got to go fix that now.
Yeah. No, Frank needed time. Johns got depressed. WB said no. DiDio and Johns had an argument. Like, all of those things could have happened, and each of them could have happened in their own year, and it still would be delayed.
I don't know. Something is going on with Geoff Johns, be it he's having issues with himself or he's just got too much on his plate. But he's got Shazam has been constantly delayed. Doomsday Clock was constantly delayed. It's either him or Gary Frank. The only two on the book. There's colors.
Yeah, it ain't like the colorist. Yeah, Brad Anderson or whatever isn't taking too long to color the damn thing.
Yeah, like Three Jokers is still. It disappeared until Geoff Johns pretty much stepped down from DCEU.
Right.
And was like, okay, working on it again.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
I think we all thought it was dead until he said something there.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah. With Three Jokers, I expected it to come out because no matter what, they could always just say it's an imaginary story.
Yeah.
So...
I mean, once he came out and said it's going to be one of the... it wasn't going to be a launch title at Black Label, if I remember correctly.
Yes! It was like one of the 3 things they said. They were like, Batman Damned, Superman Year One, that Wonder Woman story we still haven't seen, and Three Jokers.
You're right. They were like, when we launched, Batman Damned, they announced them Last Night on Earth, and they said Three Jokers is coming out, and these are all the flagship titles for our new imprint. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
Yep. And so here we are.
Here we are. I mean,
here we are.
The fact is, we're speculating, and all of you guys saying that our speculations are wrong, you're speculating. No one knows. No one knows what happened or what's going on.
Nope. Well, a few people know, but they're working. Like, they're in it.
Yeah, they're in it. They're on the inside on it. The fact is, no one knows what's happening at Three Jokers. We just know that supposedly it's being worked on. Fabig is supposedly drawing it still.
Yeah.
I would believe what was said in our chat where they're just waiting for more issues, because I would 100. If you're going to do a high quality book and you saw what happened at Doomsday Clock, as a business owner, I'd be like, all right, so the next big one that we're going to be doing, the people are going to be talking about, we're going to get like most of it done.
Yeah. I want to see, if it's a 12-issue series, I want to see 9 issues on my desk before we even solicit this thing.
Exactly.
By the way, Dan wants to clarify, we're going to just put it right out there. Darkseid War started October 28th, 2015 in Justice League Darkseid War, and then ended with Justice League number 50, May 25th, 2016.
Okay.
So May 2016 was the end of Darkseid War and the official announcement of all that stuff.
Right. And that's when Rebirth kicked off, and we were going to get Three Jokers and all that stuff.
Exactly. So that's where we are. Yeah. So that's the timeline. Regardless of whether we're saying 4 years, 5 years, 3 years, it's been a long damn time. Too long for this kind of delay.
The fact that we've talked about it, I think, on at least a quarterly basis here on Weekly Pull or Absolute Comics.
Literally, yeah. The fact is, there is and here's the other thing that's funny about the Doomsday Clock, who wants to see it, and how they couldn't possibly have killed it. There's a hardcover out right now of the first 6 issues.
Yeah.
Because they just couldn't wait long enough to get their money. Like, they are willing to make money off of the first 6 issues in a hardcover book that's incomplete, so they know that this book is selling. They know it's selling. They know that people want it, and they're putting it out. So
I get questioned all the time, when am I going to continue Doomsday Clock on the main channel? We're going to be continuing it now that it apparently has an end date.
I wouldn't trust it, man. I'd wait another month.
Well, at this point, I got 11 issues to go through. If they delay it where I can't stretch that out, we got problems.
That's fair. Yeah.
I
good thing you didn't start last year.
I'll end this discussion here because I think we've been talking about it too long. I will say this about this discussion. It's been so... Ara Tick Green in our chat says, it's been so long that people have to Google when it started.
That's right. Because I don't remember immediately when it started. That's why.
All right. So let's go ahead and move on our topic. I think we've ranted and raved about Doomsday Clock and delays on Three Jokers and all this stuff in general. Like I said, closing thoughts on both of them, literally both of them. No one knows what these delays are. It's speculation what we said. It's speculation what the chat thinks. Unless Gary Frank and Jason Fabik get in our chat and go, here's what happened. Yes. It's all speculation. No one knows what happened to any of these books. So
nope.
Now, what would you do if they did come in the chat and go, here's the juice, guys. I got the info.
We take a break, tweet it out, be like, yo, listen. It's happening. It's happening right now. Oh my God, stay calm.
Stay calm. It's just me and Sal going, oh my God.
Yeah. I think we'd have to call them. I think we'd be like, yo, come on in. Like, get in on this.
Either way, I'm excited for both of them. I love all that artwork. I love Geoff Johns' writing.
I want to read it all.
The fact is, as long as they come out in the end, I'm going to be happy.
Right.
Whatever happened, it doesn't sound like it was anything egregious. Whatever could have happened sounds like it was a lot of internal stuff. Whatever it is, it's fun to speculate about, but let's move on.
Yeah. Well, one last thing. I want it in its entirety the way it was meant to be. I don't want them to have changed anything.
No, I agree. And even with Doomsday Clock, even though it's not really being connected to the overall DC universe, I'm excited to see how it's going to wrap up. I want to know.
Exactly.
We've been hyping this Superman Dr. Manhattan fight for 11 issues. And moving on. Marvel Phase 4. What the hell is going on? I have been saving my rant about Marvel Phase 4 to get real information. And the real information we're getting is not exciting me. Okay, I am like ready to blow into a true rant on the channel. We haven't done one in like, I think a month or 2 months at this point because of all the travel. So Thor Ragnarok sequel, Thor Love and Thunder.
Yep.
They don't know if Thor is going to be fat because they don't know how far apart from the end game it's going to take place. How do you not know it? You're Marvel. You have this whole thing planned out for 10 more years.
I guarantee they don't.
Oh, well, that's showing that.
That's what's so, like, I am in the same boat as you in terms of, like, wait a minute. You guys wrote the book on planning ahead and building momentum.
Yeah.
And it's like, how could you, listen. Endgame, Infinity War, that was a perpetual motion machine. It was an engine that was already moving. It was never gonna stop. You got it ready to go. You could take a minute during your press tour for both those movies to come up with your next initiative. Or
that's just it, because I agree. A couple guys in the chat are like, well, Thor was announced last second. I agree with that. They announced it. But wouldn't Feige sit down and go, okay, here's where Thor's going to fit. Here's who we're going to try to get for cameos. Here's how it's going to look. Like, why are we now discussing it? And isn't it supposed to come out next year? I thought they were going to start filming soon.
Well, and not only is it coming out, I think you're right, very soon. But for me, it's like none of these announced movies or shows in any way are talking about where it's going or are drumming up some kind of momentum for the next phase. I would almost say, because I think they said phase 4 isn't really like a building phase. It's more like we're just going to see what's going on. And I'm like, well, then it's not really a phase.
No, it's you testing a lot of ideas of TV shows and movies that weren't planned and things like that.
Yeah, the fact that Feige is now in charge, he's chief creative officer of Marvel, and it means that he's going to get a lot more shows under his purview, and that Marvel TV is basically dead, and that they're going to start integrating other things into the MCU and proper. It feels like it's more like a house cleaning phase, and that's fine, but don't pretend or let people assume that you're heading in a direction, because I don't think Eternals or Ant-Man 3 or Thor 4 have anything to do with each other, and that's fine, but don't mention them all in the same sentence then.
Yeah. Do you think that this is turning into what appears to have happened to Geoff Johns? Just he's getting too many things under his belt?
It feels like maybe he might be, or they just don't care. It could be one of three things. It could be either Feige's getting overworked because he's got Fantastic Four and X-Men and also the Spider-Man nonsense and everything. Plus
Phase 4, plus TV, plus Star Wars,
plus everything, right?
And now he's in charge of the Marvel Publishing House, I thought too.
Yeah, he's in charge. Well, he's chief creative officer. He's in charge of the stories that go through the publishing house.
I would love to see what my schedule's a mess when we're in full swing over here.
Yeah.
And I run 2 side businesses, this main business, and then and the podcast and everything, things like that. And I'm in calls all day. I can't imagine the guy who runs his own Star Wars thing he's doing, the entire MCU, the Marvel Publishing House, the heading up the Marvel Plus initiative. He must be in calls from 6 a.m. to midnight, Monday through Saturday. He gets one day.
And even then, he's thinking about what he's going to do the next day on Sunday. No. It's either that he's overworked, which is probably, no matter what version you pick, it's also that he's overworked. But it could be that either he's overworked, or he's just kind of like, or they don't have any plan, and they're just kind of like, I don't know, or they're resting on their laurels, where they're like, look, we already made the biggest movie in the world. We don't need to do anything.
I feel like
you're lucky you're getting any Marvel movies, much less this.
I feel like it's like you said. I feel like this maybe just be a house cleaning phase,
which is fine. I'll take it cleaned up.
I wonder if the purpose of this house cleaning phase and these kind of rushed out movies to keep the MCU moving in the movie theaters, is for a couple things. Fix the X-Men and the Fantastic Four, get the plan off of that. But right. I wonder if it's a huge part of like, let's just see how well we can do with Disney Plus. Because if Disney Plus makes bank on Winter Soldier and Falcon and WandaVision and all these movies
and Moon Knight,
what if we just transition over there? What if we can just put all of our eggs into this basket and we just use this phase as a way to test how well people want to watch those shows? Because Netflix, it's making bank off our shows. So why are we making bank off our shows?
Oh, it's true. Yeah, well, and also like, okay, so you know what? Like Ant-Man, right? Like it's not a very it's not as profitable as like an Avengers movie or a Spider-Man movie. Fine. But it still does well enough and it's strong enough to perform. But if we got movie numbers on our app, we'll have a column here for everybody. We're going to roll into Disney Plus, and then maybe the only things that come out in theaters for Marvel are the movie or the ensemble pictures. Like X-Men comes out in theaters, Avengers comes out in theaters, but like the Doctor Strange movies, the Moon Knights, the Ant-Mans, those come out over there. Like on Disney Plus.
I mean, I feel like they're testing the waters with it. And if it does well, this is where we're going to see a majority of Marvel Phase 5, 6, and 7 going. But the way it feels to me, because all of these shows are very self-contained, they're not a part of the big overall picture. And I feel like the reason for that is simple. If these don't work out, for whatever the reason, I 100% think Disney Plus is going to be a huge, smashing success. But let's say it doesn't. Nothing on there is important.
Exactly.
You can easily just go watch the movies because that's the important bits.
Yeah, you don't need to know like what Bucky and Sam were doing. You don't need to know how Wanda processes her grief from the robot. Like that's kind of it. Like the other things were announced, right? Like Ms. Marvel and Moon Knight and stuff, She-Hulk, but not a single set is built, not a single person is cast. So if WandaVision fails or if whatever the first thing that comes out fails, I mean they just started shooting Winter Soldier and Falcon like now, like today.
I retweeted the chairs. And the chat, for the record, chat, let me clarify because they're like, speak for yourself. I want to know. I want to know as well. I'm talking more for the casual moviegoer who gets overwhelmed that there's like 27 movies in the MCU right now.
I have lost count.
The last thing you need is for that casual moviegoer who's already going, wow, I don't really want to get involved in this, to then go, oh, now I have to watch 6 seasons of TV shows as well. Like,
exactly. I know people who have already said, like, I don't have to watch the shows, do I? They don't have anything to do with them. Like the reality is you don't have to watch any of them. Like, you know what's holding the gun to your head. This is entertainment. You can choose to watch whatever you want and just hope that you get it, or just go, yeah, that's fine. I mean, the fact is, like, you didn't really need to watch like any Guardians of the Galaxy movie to kind of get what's going on in the Avengers movies. You know, maybe like Infinity War, Endgame, it would help, but you get a good introduction to those characters.
What is the official kickoff of the next phase? Because technically, Far From Home was the conclusion to
Phase 3. Yeah.
Because the Phase 4 movie announcements don't sound exciting. Like, I'm going to see them all. I'm excited to see a Doctor Strange. I'm excited to see an Ant-Man 3. I'm excited to see Thor. But it doesn't feel like these...
Is Doctor Strange even written?
No, didn't they say they hadn't even written it yet?
Yeah.
And that's what we're talking about. Like, they don't seem to have any overarching plan for this Phase 4. It's more like just put out movies. And I'm okay with that. But I feel like for me, part of the MCU fun was being able to watch it all and it's all connected. Yeah. And if you're going to disconnect it all, I'm still going to watch it all. But it'll be like for me when the MCU started and Thor Dark World dropped. And I wasn't doing Comic Historian, and I didn't care about any of this stuff. Like on that level, Thor: Dark World dropped, and I'm like, I ain't gonna watch that.
Like, see, for me, I had to see it, and I was like, oh, all right, I didn't need to see that, but I kind of enjoyed it. Like, I had a good time watching Thor.
Well, at the time, I didn't care. Like, I liked Iron Man, but at the time, it wasn't my job. I was still picking and choosing. Like,
yeah. Yeah, right. Honestly, you're like, I'm not going to watch Thor 2.
Ant-Man is one of my favorite MCU movies, but I probably wouldn't have watched it, at least in the theater, if I wasn't doing Comic Historian.
Right. Yeah. I hear that.
And I feel like most of this phase, to me, feels like skippable.
Yeah.
I'm not saying everyone's going to skip it. They're all probably going to make $500 million to $1 billion. I mean,
I think you're right. The next one is going to be Black Widow. I know that Dan just confirmed it. Black Widow's coming to May 1st, and then Eternals, and then Shang-Chi. Okay. But Black Widow is a friggin' prequel movie that takes place after Winter Soldier. It's not even and it's starring the dead one. So get ready, get excited for Marvel again. Here's the dead one in a movie that's literally like the equivalent of The Lion King 1.5.
Yeah, exactly. You're not wrong.
I'm excited, but I wanted that Black Widow movie 4 years ago.
The whole phase just feels thrown together.
When it would have been bold.
Because they announced Black Widow once Captain Marvel sold. You know what I mean? So they announced Black Widow once it was sold. They announced Doctor Strange. That one we knew was coming. But then they announced Thor because Thor sold well. Right. Shang-Chi, I don't know where the hell that came from, but it's announced. You know what I mean?
I don't know.
But it just, I don't know. Everything in Phase 4 just feels so tacked on and so unneeded and unnecessary. And it just feels, like you said, it feels like a house cleaning phase. A phase where all the true fans are going to watch. It's going to get some ancillary people to watch it. But we're all going to get to the end of Phase 4 all right, we're ready for what are you doing? Let's do it.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm hyped for a Shang-Chi movie because I want to see a cool kung fu movie that's got a big budget behind it. I think it sounds great.
Oh, but after they destroyed Iron Fist, I am excited for Shang-Chi. Give me the martial arts universe of Marvel. Give it to me finally.
Yeah, and rumor has it maybe Iron Fist might show up in that movie, and it won't be. It won't be Netflix's Iron Fist. I don't believe that, but I'll take it. If they do that, the fact is, Disney / the MCU has the money and the clout to be able to buck the Netflix contract deal and ask for forgiveness rather than ask for permission, and just be you know what? There's Iron Fist. He's in it.
Crunson words it better. Instead of housekeeping, it's a testing phase. To see what can they turn into TV shows and what random heroes can be the next Ant-Man. It's a success. Right. It has its fan base. That would be Shang-Chi. That would be Moon Knight. All that stuff.
Ms. Marvel. What if Ms. Marvel is outrageously successful? Obviously, we're going to get a Ms. Marvel.
I think Ms. Marvel's a cartoon, isn't it?
No, it's a live action show. It's going to be a live action Disney Plus show.
Oh, okay.
They're going to get.
The Eternals.
I think Ms. Marvel's
okay, look. Out of everything in Phase 4, I'm excited, except the Eternals. I don't give a crap about the Eternals. I'm going to watch it, but I don't give a crap.
Eternals, what's funny is with Eternals, once they got the X-Men Fantastic Four rights, they could have, based on the strength of Phase 4, literally said, okay, scrap production, and thrown away Eternals and just been we're going to take 2 years, not 1, 2 years, and just start working on X-Men. And I think everyone would have been all right, so no huge movie in 2020, but X-Men in 2021. Yeah, I'm in.
When it comes to Eternals, it better have a good overall point to the movie, because it feels like they're well, Inhumans didn't work. What other weird stuff can we throw at the screen?
Literally, Eternals feels like a holdover from the Fox problem.
It does. It really does. And they're going to move forward with it. And it could be the next Guardians of the Galaxy, where it just turns into a fun, crazy romp. But it could also turn into the next Inhumans that gets bumped to a TV show on ABC that no one watched.
Exactly. I mean, the fact is, I found the Eternals so boring, and
the actual Eternals concept is boring. They're not interesting. At least the Guardians were interesting and in events and doing.
The Guardians had spaceships at least. There's the Eternals are just they were put here it's chariots of the gods. It's they were put here by Celestials are neat, but do I want to see them seeding the earth and making these dudes who can't die? And I don't know. It's just kind of I don't know. Even Neil Gaiman wrote an amazing Eternals book, and even that was it could barely hold my interest. And I'm and that was you could literally do anything you want. And bleh, I don't know. It could be really cool, and especially if you're going to set it in the MCU, because if you made an Eternals movie, it's Paramount's going to make an Eternals movie. I don't care about that. But at least if it's in the MCU, you could set it against all the fun stuff I recognize and enjoy. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I mean, you're not wrong. And we'll see. I mean, we're going to see all the movies when they come out, and we'll be doing our special episodes afterwards. So it's not like, I don't believe me or Sal is going to be skipping anything. Don't worry.
No, this goes for everybody, by the way. We're going to go see Bloodshot. We're going to see every Joker and Riddler and Penguin movie they make. It's not Marvel oriented. It's everybody.
Yeah, every superhero movie is going to be talked about in Absolute Comics. So don't worry, guys.
If they make The Shadow 2 starring Alec Baldwin, I'm going to see it.
Okay,
I'm even seeing Morbius.
I'm doing it now. If they make The Shadow 2 starring Alec Baldwin, I'm flying both of us to LA and we are doing a community meetup to go see The Shadow 2 starring Alec Baldwin, okay?
They're never going to do that.
I will rent out the whole theater. I will throw everything on a credit card and whoever shows up's got a free pass to come see The Shadow 2 with Absolute Comics.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No. We're never going to see that. I did not see Venom, by the way. Somebody asked me about Venom. I was so angry with Sony and their desperation to make like their Venom universe. I did not see Venom in theaters.
Okay, well, in Sal's defense, we did not have a functioning show at the time that Venom came out.
I didn't need to see Venom.
Right, it wasn't a part of
me at all.
Yeah, exactly. So, like I talk about Venom on my channel, but you don't talk too much about Venom, like movie and all that stuff on your channel.
No, we'll talk about the comics. And we tied in. Like, if there's going to be a movie, I'm going to do a Venom comic. Yeah. Oh, I know. No, Venom's great. Like, So I'm not going to not talk about it. Like, we may cover Morbius the comic, but I'm not going to see that Morbius movie.
Well, now you are. We have to talk about it.
Really? Then I'm going to see it on a Tuesday. You literally just said that
we're going to see every superhero movie, and then you immediately go, but not Morbius.
Because it's a Sony Venomverse movie. I don't believe in those.
You have to see them now, because now you have a weekly show you talk about these things.
Yeah. You know what? I have 2 free passes. I will go see it for free.
I'm just waiting for Sal to be like, big announcement on his Twitter. I resigned from Absolute Comics the week that this movie comes out. I'll be back in a week.
I will not be seeing Morbius. Yeah. Like, here's the thing. I will see Morbius for free, but I will not see the Silver and Black movie if that ever gets made.
Okay. Problem solved, guys. So I will pay for your tickets to all these movies to get you to go see them off of our Absolute Comics funding. So you're good.
All right. I will see. I mean, like, listen, it's going to be really stupid. So
okay, I'm not denying that, but
yeah. But no, I'm looking like, listen, all joking aside, like if Morbius is like, here's the thing, if Morbius makes a buck, we're not going to waste time talking about Morbius. But if Morbius becomes like a sleeper hit like Venom was, we're going to have to talk about Morbius.
We want to talk about Morbius either way, even if it makes a buck.
Really?
Yeah, we have to. It's a show.
We're going to waste time talking about... All right, fine.
Well, no, all right. No, here's the best part. It won't even be on our normal show. We'll do a special episode like we did with Joker.
Right. All right, yeah. Listen, like I said, I have 2 free passes in my wallet right now to see a movie for free at the AMC. I will just use that on Morbius, and that way they won't get my money.
When is Morbius coming out that you keep talking about? Is that soon?
Oh, I don't know. No, I think they shot it. I think it's done. So it'll come out as soon as they can.
Okay.
But yeah,
I think I heard Dan typing. I think he's giving us it.
Oh, here we go. July 31st, 2020.
All right.
So literally this summer, Morbius the Living Vampire will be out, starring Jared Leto.
Last thing we're going to go on to, speaking of those amazing Sony movies, Venom, which is one of the greatest movies ever created.
Jeez, I'm lobsters on them.
Into the Spider-Verse 2 got announced.
Yeah. Now here, that's a Sony movie I'm going to go see.
Right. Real quick, we all expected that. That movie sold like crazy for an animated film. Won countless awards. Everyone is still raving. You know what? I've thought about it. It is my favorite Spider-Man movie out of all of them, Sal.
Right?
1, 2, 3 with Tobey Maguire. We pretend Amazing never existed.
Yep. No, it's true. I mean, like, I think Into the Spider-Verse might be the best Spider-Man-centric movie ever made.
100%. Which is weird because it's like 5 Spider-Men.
Exactly. But I have a really high affinity for that Homecoming and Far From Home movie.
So apparently they've announced Japanese Spider-Man. I don't know how true that is. We got the article there. I didn't look for validation on it.
It's in. Like they said they wrote him in. The production designer has their own design for Japanese Spider-Man. It's a done deal.
What's going to be interesting about Japanese Spider-Man, for those guys who don't know, Japanese Spider-Man kills. When he showed up in Spider-Verse both times, he was like, why aren't we just killing them?
Right. And here's the thing, because it's a Sony movie, yeah, he could do that.
Yeah.
But Kingpin beat Peter Parker to death with his bare hands in that movie. Yeah. So yeah, they're gonna do that. I think they'll do that. He won't be murdering whatever villains they're fighting, probably, unless they're like mindless drones or foot soldier type characters. But yeah, that's fine.
And chat, yes, you are right. He also has a giant Megazord. I think it's called Leopardon.
Leopardon?
Leopardon. Yep. That was it. Yep.
Yeah, I can't wait. That's gonna be awesome.
I know. It's funny when they announced it. I'm like, well, saw this coming. It's actually a little sooner than I was expecting.
That's the thing. Is like, of course they were gonna use him. He was one of the few that they didn't use.
Yeah. And he's well known too. So let's have a little fun speculation to wrap up this. Okay. Out of the well-known ones, who do you think is left to pop up?
Well, he's already been in it, but Spider-Man 2099 is going to play a big role in this movie.
Oh, well, yeah, but they hinted at him in the last one, so he's definitely coming back.
Yeah.
He had the cameo. Well, they teasered him in the last one.
Yeah, like I think Oscar Isaac plays him. So it's like,
2099, we got Japanese Spider-Man. We're going to bring back, I heard, and I'm not sure this is, because they were talking about this before the announcement of Into the Spider-Verse 2, that Ghost Spider, I'm going to just call her that from now on, because...
Are you talking about that, like, awesome skin from the game?
No. Ghost Spider is Spider-Gwen now.
Oh, right. Ugh, yes, I'm sorry.
Okay, look. On that name change, I had an argument with somebody, they're like, why would you do that? She's called Spider-Woman in her universe. It's simple. Because there's 7 Spider-Women, and when a young girl goes, I want the Ghost Spider costume, the mom knows what to get. That's the whole reason her name is not Spider-Woman in her universe, or Spider-Girl. It's so that they can it's because she's popular enough that she gets her own comic, and they don't want her to be confused with Jessica Drew, who also had a book.
Yeah,
I think that'd be the biggest one they're trying to differentiate from. But Spider-Punk could be great.
There's no way he won't be in it. He was in the video game. He's a great popular skin. You always see him at cons. Spider-Punk is a definite. Yep. I think you're gonna see Jessica Drew, like in the original Spider-Woman costume.
That would be interesting if they have her in the main universe as like the Peter Parker villain. Since Miles is big in my opinion, and you guys can tell me if I'm wrong. As much as I love Peter Parker, I think that movie did a good enough job with Miles that he could hold the movie down. That was their goal with the first movie, obviously, but they had to have Peter Parker in there. So now we can get rid of main Peter Parker, make it Miles-centric instead of having a main Peter Parker there, and have all these fun, weird ones.
Yeah, that's true. I think Peter B. Parker will be back as well.
You think he'll show up again?
Yeah.
You think he'll be in the sweatpants?
I think that they will... It really depends on what they want to do. The fact that Spider-Man 2099 was hinted at, and Spider-Man 66, who will, I think, or 62 or whatever, 66, I think. The original animated series Spider-Man, I think he's going to be in it as well. I think that it's going to be Spiders Through Time.
I can see that, yeah.
Yeah, so I think that we're definitely going to see Peter Parker show back up. But he'll probably not be as big a role. Like, it'll probably be more like, or if it's Spider-Man Through Time, we'll see that Peter B. Parker and Mary Jane did have a kid, and she's a Spider-Girl.
Oh, like he comes back, but it's Renew Your Vows style.
Yeah.
That would be kind of cool.
Well, or they go into his universe. He's like, I know who, they're screwed, and Miles is like, I know who to call. They use their dimensional thingy on their wrist. He goes to Peter B. Parker's universe, and it's not that Peter Parker's like dead, but maybe he's too old, and he's like, and his daughter shows up, and she's like a teenager, and she's like, yeah, let's go, and you're like, what? I think that'll be what they do.
It'll be interesting. It'll be. I'm excited in general just to have it happen. Do we have a date on that, Dan, or is that just?
Yeah, I think it's 2022. I think it's summer 2022.
Okay, if you already know, yeah. Okay, so we still got some time. This is not going to be rushed out, which is what I'm happy about. If you were going to tell me next summer, I was going to be like, oh no.
Oh no. It's a lot. 2 years from this summer.
Good. All right.
Yeah, April 8th, 2022. Thank you, Dan.
All right. So, do we have anything else, Sal, or does that hit all the topics?
Any new business? No, I think those are the biggest topics, and I feel like that's what people are here for. We could mention that, if you remember, they made a Wolverine podcast, like Marvel and Stitcher made a whole show, and Marvel is doing it again. Stitcher Premium only Marvel's show, which is, I think, an audio version of the Marvels comic from Kurt Busiek and Alex Ross, which is awesome. I think that's a really cool idea. So like, and there's a teaser on Marvel's official YouTube channel. You can watch it there. But like, I love this idea. I think it's a neat concept that they're like, let's make audio dramas. I want them to take it further. Like, I want them to make like shows that are in the universe that are like, you know, like a radio show. Like, you know how J. Jonah Jameson had a radio show on in the Spider-Man game. Yeah. It'd be great if there was a J. Jonah Jameson podcast you could download that like was like a monthly show.
Yeah.
That was in that universe. I want more like in-universe kind of media. And I think that'd be really cool.
All right.
So
no, I mean, you're not wrong. I like it. Yeah.
That's all I got.
Oh, Jay Bruce says we didn't talk about Hawks and Pox.
Oh yeah.
You want to save it for next time? Okay. Here's my opinion. So
thoughts. Yeah.
Okay. Here's my thoughts on Hawks and Pox. So I read halfway through it. The time jumping threw it all off, and I just was like, I'm not following. I'm gonna wait till it's done. It ended, and then Andy and I, because he writes a lot of the scripts for the channel now, we sat down, and I was like, okay, I don't really want to read all of it anymore after hearing Sal talk about it every week. So how can we present a summary of some sorts that kind of tells you what happened? So Andy put it in order by the appropriate timeline.
Great.
So having that in front of me, it sounds cool.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Like, well, seeing all the lives of Moira and where they go and which ones you don't know much about. Like, yeah, no, it's
right. We're doing the summary will hit the channel tomorrow, so you're gonna see it. He did all of the Moira stuff, although first, so that it gets to the last time, and then he picked up. So basically, put it all in appropriate order, and we explained how everything came together. We explained how everything went bad, because towards the end of it, he's like the Sabretooth thing, and I'm like, that was like an issue 1.
Yeah, well, that's the fun of reading the book when it comes out, is like, you go, wait a minute, whoa. Like, literally the last issue of Hawks, I think, or Pox, is the first page of Hawks. So it's like, yeah, it all ties back together. You're rewarded for reading it as it's coming out. It's pretty cool.
Yep. So Andy ruined all that, put it in order, so we're putting that out tomorrow.
Fair enough. I mean, listen, as long as you buy it and read it and check it out, I think it's a dope experience, and it's
Well, we wanted to do is X-Men, regardless of how I feel about Hawks and Pox and the overall X-Men direction and what they're doing with Hickman. It's the new direction for X-Men, and the X-Men have fans. Regardless of what you want it to be, it's the new Deadpool, the new Wolverine. All of it is adding up to this. So that's why I talked about it. We were going to go right into X-Force or New Mutants, and I'm like, no. We got to do something like a recap. You have to explain what happened in Hawks and Pox, because everything comes out of that.
Right. No, because every book is connected to it. You can't deny. If you did Excalibur, you'd be like, what's with the plants? So no, you got to do it. Yeah.
So I liked it. I like the direction. I want to see what they're gonna do with it. I'm excited. I'm gonna pick up X-Force tomorrow. Be reading that one. So
yeah, definitely. I'm reading them all.
New Mutants. I'm kind of like, I never cared about that, but
fair enough. I'm reading them all because some of them are stuff that I'm like, I've never wanted to read it, or I've never thought about it, and I'm like, oh, it's a new experience, but it's also directly connected to what's happening. Plus, they're all minis.
Yeah.
So they have a termination date. So it's not
Which is always good when it comes to comics. I like that better. As much as I love my ongoing series, I'd love it if they would just come out with a solid 6-issue story, take a couple months off, come back with another one.
Right. Yeah. I think that maybe the future of comics will be in seasons, where it's Justice League came out in the spring, and then we didn't put out Justice League from it goes from summer to to fall. And then winter to, spring or whatever, there's no Justice League. It's something else,
Right.
It'd be a great way to kind of save the print and help people try to kind of prioritize their books. That's another topic. Let's not do that.
We can talk about that next week. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us today for the Absolute Comics live recording. If you're watching this on the Twitch, on the YouTube channel that it comes out to almost a week later, don't forget you can catch us live right here at 5 p.m. Eastern on twitch.tv/comicstorian. You can also support the show directly by subbing to the Twitch channel or by going to patreon.com/comicpop or patreon.com/comicstorian. We release it early on both of our Patreons, so either one will be a direct support for your favorite host of this show. And if you want to support both hosts, just go ahead and sub right here at Twitch, because the money does get split amongst us. We are trying to make this a profitable venture this time around. We're trying to make it a better show. We are. And
overall, entirely. Yeah.
Overall. So either way, that's the best ways you can support us. Don't forget, you can also go to G Fuel and use the code COMICS at checkout to get 10% off of that one. And yeah, that's where we're at right now. Sal, they can find you over at Comic Pop on YouTube. You can find me at Comicstorian. We are Absolute Comics, and we will be back next week. And if you like our podcast, you can also join me, Dan, and Andy on Thursday with Comics Experiment. And cut!